basically me making an attempt going live. Let's see how it goes. Right? I have like 50 subscribers, I guess. Hmm. I think it's better to try doing something like this on Twitter. So, yep. Let's see how it goes. So, I'm gonna talk about the White Sharia project a bit. Right? This is me in my apartment. Yep. Let's see how it goes. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm gonna talk about the White Sharia project. What is it about? Why do we have it? You can check it out on Twitter. So, am I live? Yep. I'm sorry, I'm new to this a bit. The White Sharia project is about gathering people of European descent together so we can form an identity, so we can come together. You get what I'm saying? So we can move as one body, because we're kind of sick of biryani Islam a bit, right? Cultural Islam. I'm not being racist, right? But we need to have an identity for ourselves too in Europe, right? That's the whole point. That is why. Understand? And if you follow my Twitter or my X, whatever you want to call it, yep, you are going to find a profile over there, right? And that profile is Ibn Malika at IBNMALIKAH, right? The whole profile is about this project and other stuff. You can also get 50 benefits over there, like you already know I do the chef, I study it, I'm in my third year. But the whole point, is I'm trying to get more people on so we can actually make a difference. And let's see how it goes. And Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Myth. So that's the whole point about the WSP project, right? Is that we come together and we do something. We produce fruit as Muslims of European descent. We work as a body, and we try to build a community, at least virtual, online. You know, we need to set real objectives, right? None of that fake stuff. We have to be practical. You know, so I'm not talking about a literal physical community where, how do you say, like a whole town or village. That's probably not going to happen in like 50 years maybe. But if we at least can set up a network between Muslims of European descent, we can actually enjoy an identity, especially for Western European Muslims, right? Because like if you look at any other nation, a Muslim nation, right? They all have a culture, they enjoy it, right? There's nothing wrong with a culture, you know that, right? A culture is basically something that is a part of the Sharia. Do you understand? Yeah. So we need a culture for white Muslim reverts. They cannot just constantly assimilate with other people. That's not natural. That's not proper. And another reason why we need this community is because we'll have to change the growth of reverts, right? And when I say reverts, my apologies, but we have to change the growth of Muslims of indigenous European descent from what? From reversion to births. Because if people are going to come into Islam through reversion, that means there's going to be a lot of baggage in their past life, which can affect them. So children being born purely in an Islamic, setting and raised upon Muslim values, they tend to be more productive, right? And they tend to bring more results. And they have a better chance for the garden in the next life. That's the main objective in the end, right? And that is the reason why I am setting up this project, right? As a white Muslim, so I can do something for my people. That's the whole point. That is the goal. And if we don't do that, then we're going to probably die out. Because if you look at all the other communities of whites, whether it's Christians or pagans, right? They do not enjoy values where values which bring preservation, which secure a future for them. So these values are basically there's a lack of values. There's a lot of corruption. Do you understand? There isn't any sense of structure. So people don't work as a group in Europe. Every person is a group. Like if you look at pagans and if you look at Christians, right? When you look at them, if you see 1,000 Christians, it's as if you see 1,000 sects. 1,000 distinct parties. Do you understand? Because they all have different views. They don't work together. That's how they are. There is no hierarchy. There is no structure. Every man himself is a separate entity. And that is not beneficial. That means these people are probably not going to preserve themselves. They're going to die out because they are all divided. You know the quote, divide and conquer? That's basically what happened to these European groups. But Islam, or the White Sharia project, if we work hard, if we put effort, if we come together, if we try to encourage these values, if we center our values around the most important value of all these beliefs, of all these customs, of all that culture, that we will try to bring in, that we will try to influence, teach, etc. And that value is monotheism, which is the center, which is the sun which is the sun in the midst of the planets, right? Then we can actually achieve something. Do you understand how a hierarchy works? It's always one on top and multiple below, right? So one God, multiple worshippers, right? One man, one father, multiple children. That's nature, right? One teacher, multiple students, at least during a lesson, right? Because you can't have two teachers teaching a lesson in one class at the same time. It doesn't work. It's not natural. You get what I'm saying? The same thing with one shepherd, multiple sheep, right? You also have it, if you look at the pack of wolves, one alpha. If you look at the pride of lions, one male lion. So we have to follow that structure. We have to build that. And we can't do that without monotheism, which is the first, which is one God, not three, not multiple, one God and multiple worshippers. Do you understand? That is the psyche which has to be fixed so we can have a base to build more structure upon. That's the innate belief. That is the problem from within that we have to fix. And Christianity, even if you have, some families who abide by, family values, or you have a teacher that, or as they say, a pastor and multiple church attendees, they don't have that oneness within. They don't have that one over multiple, as in the one God, not three, not two, one God, yeah, over multiple worshippers. They don't. Their structure is flawed from within, from the base, from the root. You get what I'm saying? From the core. And you can't really do much with that if you have three co-eternals. That's what they call it, right? So if there is equality on top, why can't there be equality in the bottom? You get what I'm saying? And equality is only a synonym to what? To chaos. It is a synonym to anarchy, because you have two voices, two decision makers. Therefore, you will have conflict. Do you understand how it works? That is something we have to get rid of. That's hypocrisy. To tell your wife to obey you, the one man, right? Yet you don't obey the one God. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't. That's hypocrisy. Right? And justice, God's justice does not sleep forever. Right? Because God is God. You get what I'm saying? Even if someone, right? Even if a person, let's say, dies in sin, he will face justice in the next life. All right. Okay, that's 12 minutes. I think that's enough. Yeah. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.